Hey guys, welcome back to some more Raid Shadow Legends. Today's video, we're going to be looking at the guild boss, and I want to run through my champions, seeing if you can recommend a team for us to do a lot more damage in this game mode. Now, overall, the champions that I've been really focused on is damage-wise, Supreme Galak. He is a really big build here. We got him built up to 6 stars. We got a red star on him. Also do have the blessing on there. We are also using Kale. Now, Kale, of course, really big with the poisons. We have the life leech on here. Survivability does work pretty well. I am running Alice because, again, when it comes to building out these heroes, we do have the champions built out pretty significant, and I've been trying to focus on getting out the masteries, building these out in the entirety, instead of having a bunch of half-built champions. We've been building out in the entirety. Now, on the defensive aspect, we have Tagore. Now, Tagore, of course, has that big speed haste, also does have the shielding ability, also the healing ability. And then we were going through with Deacon. Now, Deacon Armstrong is one that I've ran a couple times because of the decreased defense. And then also for the turn meter in here, we put the emergency heal on here, and we are running speed. So the aura with the speed right down here in the bottom has been my best run that I've done in here. I've tried a couple different variations of using different auras, like using Supreme Galak's attack, and speed has really eclipsed the damage that we see. There is kind of a big RNG factor in there. Now, a lot of players were saying to use Yugo because, of course, the defense decreased, but also the blocking buffs that we get out of there. So using Yuko instead of Deacon, but I'm not sure. Again, let me know in the comments, because it removes the heal reduction, but also random debuffs on here as well. This might be a better choice if we can build him up a little bit, get him up to 60 and really add some more stars on there, because we know he does have the leech ability, but overall that defense decrease is really the big one, and that block buffs, it seems like it's going to be a lot bigger than what we're seeing with Deacon, but also he doesn't bring the speed. That is the other thing that we're kind of missing in here. We would not be able to use the speed. And the last one that we've been kind of looking at is Taragi. Now, Taragi the Frog, a lot of players have said absolutely 5-star when it comes to the boss build because of the utility. But as you can see, we do not have him built up pretty well. He needs some more gear. He's only at level 40 right now. We're slowly kind of building him up, starting to get more masteries on him. I haven't really used him much, but as a really ally protect, players are saying this is the one to go to, decreasing the attack, which is absolutely huge on there, but also the provoke ability, and also the shield and the ally protect, and the reflecting damage in here, as well as the poison. So he does really come with a lot of different things that we want to see. I don't know if to use the resist in there a little bit higher for the 40 resist aura versus going in there again and doing damage, or even running a one like Tagore. That is going to bring a lot more HP to us, maybe the survivability aspect. Now, we also do have a Lenariel built out a little bit. I'm starting to get her built up. She's already on level 52. So seeing a lot more progression in there. And then the rest of these, even looking here, it's kind of an overlap, because we have the decreased speed in here. We also do have the increased speed, and we also do have that turn meter, which is pretty interesting, because if we're running this one with the decreased speed and with the increased speed, that's a lot of what some of the other ones are in here. And Rise and Fight is one of the ones that I absolutely love with running Tagore in here, for the simple fact that Tagore is bringing a lot of our champions back to life during the battle itself. So looking at my roster, looking at who we have right here, and we did pick up a couple new ones. I know this one, again, I don't feel like it's going to be for the guild boss, but this is one we just picked up. We also did pick up Chirunu, the Necro Hunter, and we also did pick up the Crypt Witch as well. I'm going to have to see the utility of these, what exactly they look like in a bunch of different formations, and what it's going to look like kind of level-wise for building these out. So I'm going to run through here, show you exactly what we're doing here in the clan boss. Now, Demon Lord, I have been farming Brutal. So this is where we're at. You can see right here, 25 million damage. We farmed out and we got the chest 21 right here. So we got the Brutal chest built out. So that is good. That is done. So we got that Grandmaster chest. Now, to get a little bit of a higher score, I don't want to go in and do Nightmare. I feel like Nightmare is a little bit too much of a stretch. When we tried it last time, didn't really work very well, but I want to go ahead and hop into Hard. Now, this, again, is the team we've been running. I feel like with the aura of Deacon, I don't know if it's going to make a big difference having you go in here versus Deacon, but I'm going to run through here and show you exactly where we're kind of coming in damage-wise, because this is a very, very important part as we've been making a lot more progression in here. We've had the ability to to essentially get a lot more loot. We've got a lot more potions. We've got a lot more. And maybe this one's a little bit too low. Now remember, when the boss count gets about 10, that is when we start seeing a lot more damage. And you can see we're starting to get the buffs up in here. We got the poison. We got the burn up here. We got the brimstone on there. There's some more poison. So we are starting to stack the debuffs. And this makes a big difference. If you notice right here in the middle, right there, brimstone just triggered. 250,000 damage from brimstone. And then also when the poison does land, you'll see a bunch of numbers that just roll right up here when the poison does go on him. And we also do have the speed. We have to get and land the big defense debuff. So there is leech. There's poison again. You can see him kind of popping up. There's the HP burn, but we're not getting the decrease, decrease because we don't have Deacon built out. We're not seeing that defense decrease, which is huge. This is where, again, kind of the RNG factor when it comes to this boss makes a big difference, because if we can get that up, and if we can get that up really early, because right there, see, he just resisted. Anytime you're seeing that resist, that is because we need accuracy. Deacon needs a lot more accuracy. I got to build him up again a little bit further, but getting him and being able to land that consecutively and really consistently with every time that we have the opportunity to, I feel like is going to put the damage through the roof, especially earlier with some of the big hitters like Supreme Glack. And I know a lot of players do not even use him in here, but overall, sometimes he gets hit with the stun. Sometimes we see a lot of kind of chain crowd control with him that does incredibly well. I feel like Alice might not be the best one either, but we'll look at the damage as soon as we're done with this and kind of see where we're at with this. And again, I feel like the big defense decrease, we have to start landing that in the entirety. We got the brimstone up again. We have a couple more buffs again. We have the poison buffs up there. This might be where Tagori the Frog makes a really, really big difference with the damage we're putting up. Brimstone again, another 250,000 damage out of there, which is kind of crazy. Boom, a lot more poisons just showed up. We cannot be missing this one. I think it was resisted again. I'm gonna have to see where his accuracy is. I know, and looking at this, it's pretty low with Deacon. I'm wondering if Hugo would make a really big difference in here, being able to just run this a little bit higher, because where we're coming in damage-wise, I feel like it's very, very low. I'm struggling with the game mode, need some help in here. Looking at, again, the champions that we do have available in here. What are your recommendations? Let me know down in the comments so we can actually score a little bit. And I'm hoping, as you can see, this meter starting to get taken down because we're almost at reset rate here. So if we can knock off quite a bit, and right there, we got the defense up this time, that means the damage is going to go much, much higher. And even when we see here, guys, there's another 16K. Supreme Glack does have the buffs out there, but there's 43K, 38K right there. Once we have that defense, that is massive. Being able to get that defense up and keep that up the entire time. Again, Deacon, we're going to have to kind of rework some of the stats in there, get him a lot more, and boom, defense decrease. It landed again for the next 2 turns, which means damage going to be much, much higher. We're already at 6 million. Again, a little bit low with 2 keys. There's a big heal. And when we start losing some of our champions, Tagore does bring them back to life. Yeah, look at a lot of damage out there. I feel like that brimstone is really broken as well. And that 250,000 that's landing on there. Maybe we'll pull 8 or 9. Defense decrease lands again. If we would have got lucky with the very early defense decrease, I feel like the damage would have been much, much higher. But essentially what I want to do with the keys is just keep going down until we get to the Ultra Nightmare, which I know, being a little bit over a month in here, we definitely should be making some more progression. And a lot of it, in my opinion, guys, just comes by the champions that you have the RNG to pull. If you're pulling a big defensive champion, if you're pulling a really, really big damage dealer, that can be a game changer. That can be a game changer, especially if it is landing early game with being able to get some of those. So Kale goes down right there. We should be able to bring him back to life pretty soon. There's a big heal, 9,500. Getting to Gore, getting a little bit more HP on there. Again, going to make a little difference. Alice takes the stun right there. HP burn comes back up. And see, resisted. Yeah, that resisted is going to make a big difference. Boom. Took everybody down. Where's Rise and Fight? There it is. Boom. Sometimes it all comes back up, guys. Took all three of them down. We might get one or two more attacks out of this. Alice even gets some pretty decent heals right there. So overall, 8.7, 8.74. So not too bad, but looking at the damage, 8.99. So Supreme Galak, 4.5. So doing a lot of the damage in there. Kale's at 1.4. So again, this might be a point where we do just have to swap them out. Alice at 2.7. I feel like between these two, again, kind of swapping out Deacon probably for Hugo, and then swapping out Kale for another one that is going to do a lot more damage in here. But yeah, that is where we're at. So even looking there, the advanced reward is complete, but that does put us right into that night chest. So at 9 million, that drops us right into the night chest. Again, I feel like revamping this a little bit, we should be able to get hard within the chest itself, brutal, and then start farming kind of brutal nightmare based on what we're getting out and where we're kind of building these teams. But I see a couple other players running Deacon. I see, honestly, looking here, I see a ton of champions that I don't have. It's kind of crazy because even right there's almost. So I see Geomancer right here. That's a pretty good build. But again, running Deacon in here might make a big difference. So I like this, and that also does have Taragi in here. So it does have the frog. I might have to try out that combination, see exactly what we can do in there. But all right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, what teams we should be using. And as always, thank you guys for watching.